There's a new focus, same name though. It's the Flourishing Club, and I want to welcome Diane Lukic and Sunshine Ludi to our program. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us here.
So tell us, folks who don't know, what the Flourishing Club is, maybe what it was a little bit, and what it is today. What do you guys have? How have you reinvented it?
Okay, reinvented. That's exactly what I did, because coming out of COVID is when I started Flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a need to connect people together. And so I started this group, and we had so many people that were interested in connecting at a deeper level. And so I had the focus on positive psychology and making the most of this phase of life, called whatever we want to call it. I called it the retirement. Some people call it a new beginning. Could be called anything. So it was a focus on making the most of that and making it really good despite the challenges we faced as we age.
Right. And Sunshine, you know, a lot of folks can feel isolated already when they move into those retirement years. The kids are gone. They maybe lose connection with friends if they move to a community like this and they don't know one just yet. But COVID can make it even. COVID was impacting that even tenfold. So when, like she said, when we emerge from that, we wanted to have the desire for connection. Is that what you felt as well?
Absolutely. I loved when she started that club, because what happened is we were talking to each other about things that mattered. And that's hard to do when you're sitting at home in your lazy boy chair.
Yeah, or doing it through a Zoom connection. You're looking at a tiny screen or something like that. If you're on the phone with people, it's that face-to-face that I think a lot of people got cut off from for so long, and that's kind of what was the inspiration, like you said, for the Flourishing Club.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and so when you guys started this up, what was the original goal for Flourishing? Just to connect?
Connecting with each other at a deep level. And so I didn't know how that looked or how that felt. But then what emerged was I was teaching guided autobiography, and I found people just love sharing stories, and it united. And a lot was happening in our world to call divisiveness. And so this unites people together, because these stories, we see how alike we all are.
Right.
So I decided to change the focus just recently to flourishing through shared stories. And it's based on the principles of guided autobiography, which is from the field of gerontology.
And that can be a real connector, right? Because instead of sitting down and talking about politics or something that just can be a very divisive kind of thing, like how I raised my kids, when I first got married, things like that, like you said, that guided autobiography. Do you feel like you find more connection there than you ever would in a political conversation?
Absolutely, although politics can come into the story as well. I mean, how do you live without it right now?
So when you have those connections, when you get that, do people give you feedback? Like, I really got a sense of connection. I really had that feeling of, like, I found, a group that I want to be around.
They do. So I had my first meeting just a couple of weeks ago, and several people came to this. It had kind of slowed down. I was away for a few months, and so I resurrected it by putting some flyers out, and everyone came in. We talked about branching points. What was the point in your life where things changed for you? And there were about 20 people there, and they just were delighted with the connection that they felt with each other and how much they had in common. And they were from all different parts of the United States, but we saw how much we really had in common through a turning point in our life.
And it's an interesting way you term it in terms of branching points, because I think a lot of times people say, oh, if I'd gone down this road, well, that road closed the minute you went this direction. That road does not exist anymore. And do you feel people, like Sunshine, have you ever felt like people like are stuck in those places sometimes and they don't have that connection?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My probably biggest branching point would have been after I lost my second husband. I lived 43 years with one husband, 17 years with another husband. Now I was all alone, and I really didn't even know who I was anymore.
And that can be a real challenge for people when their identity is wrapped up maybe in something else that isn't within them, a little bit like a job or a spouse or something like that, right? And then they feel like, well, who am I? Here I am, I'm 60, whatever might be years old, and I really never figured that out.
That's right. That's exactly right. So that's what this phase of life is about, and flourishing is about what is really good, focusing on the present moment. Because as Sunshine and I were talking before we came in here, I said this could be our last conversation, Sunshine, right now.
We don't know.
We don't know.
No, you never know.
So it's appreciating the current moment, and that happens when we're together in this circle, and we are in a circle, And so it's very important to be in that circle because it feels connection, and just delighted to do that with people and see the.
Is it important in terms of when like you talk about flourishing, is when people walk in, they say, and you kind of say, okay, we're not here to dwell on the past or be worried about the future. We're trying to be in the moment with each other.
They don't know coming in. They're kind of surprised. They don't know what to expect. Okay. They'll say, oh, what did you come to Flourishing today? They're like, well, I don't know. It just sounds interesting. I'd like to find out more about it. So then what's really nice about it is we kind of just discuss these topics like cultural heritage, and we even go into death, music and all sorts of things. So it can be very heavy, it can be very light. But it's such a, they go really deep. It's amazing for the very first meeting how deep people go, especially after the first person shares.
Okay.
That everyone, and they keep getting deeper and deeper.
Well, you have a book there, Writing Your Legacy.
Yeah.
It's by a village resident, and you have some what you call priming questions that you kind of kick off some meetings with. So tell us some of them.
Okay.
And I want to hear some of your answers.
And I just picked a couple fun topics here. Cultural heritage. What cultural beliefs, values, and behaviors have you inherited from your ancestors? What is your cultural background? I love that question. There's a lot to that. And I'm going to go to this one because I think Sunshine would really like this. My life goals.
Yes. Well, one of the things I wrote about goals and aspirations. This is a poem that I wrote just after my first husband had been told of his terminal illness. I live each day as though it's my last. Who knows the future? We just know the past. Living each day in the very best way is all I can do while loving you, loving you, loving you. And I go on to say, I will continue to stand firm on fairness, equality, and freedom for all. I will continue to find ways to spread sunshine and joy. After all, with a name like Sunshine, that's my job.
In this Flourishing Club, it's not like you said, you have this goal, and here I'm going to set my goals. Is it important for people to still have goals in their retirement and that kind of thing? Important to have something to look forward to, say, I'm going to do this next. This is the next chapter of my life.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, here's the thing, people think it needs to be a big goal.
Right.
It doesn't have to be big. It can be something little tiny. I set goals every single day. So I set a goal to help others. I'm very service oriented. So help another neighbor with their groceries. I mean, it could be smiling at someone, telling the person in the grocery store they did a great job of bagging groceries. These are my goals.
Just spread some sunshine, so to speak, today. There's a goal, right? And just be out there. And I find like a checklist, even if it isn't, maybe I don't call it a goal, but a checklist for my day.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, when I cross that last thing off my checklist for the day, I feel, okay,
that's right.
I got some things done today.
And the only problem with that is putting too many things on your checklist.
Yes, well, I've discovered that as well. I'm halfway through my checklist.
And I think it's important for people to know that it's a choice. Every day you get up in the morning, I can choose to be happy, I can choose or have a bad day today. And I do know some of those people. So in Flourishing, it's a focus on joy and happiness, despite physical and mental decline in some cases.
All right, so the next meeting, we've got that up on the screen for you. So tell us about the meetings, where do we meet, what times, and all that kind of stuff for people who want to come out and flourish with you.
Yeah, Sunshine, take it away.
Well,
it's up on the screen.
Well, I'll jump in.
Ahead,
June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and it's the first Tuesday of each month. It's over at Clubhouse 1, Dining Room 2. Time's going to be 1:30 to 3 o'clock. Be ready to talk.
That's
be ready
right.
to share.
Yes, be ready to share.
Those are the goals. Be ready to talk and be ready to share.
Yeah, that's right.
And one more thought about spiritual life and values. Since I believe that love conquers all, my goal is to give and receive love to everyone I meet.
All right, we'll end it on that. Sunshine and Diane.
Sending love to Laguna Woods.
Sunshine and Diane from Flourishing Club. Thank you. Keep flourishing. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
you.
Yes.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.